Hi, I'm Mike for General Tools. Here we're talking about the brand new face frame jig kit. Comes with a guide bar, extruded aluminum guide bar, which we've mounted to an auxiliary table, gives us a nice platform to work on. The kit also includes this clamp mount and a stop block, both of which slide onto the guide bar, and a long square drive bit for driving the pocket hole screws, a stepped drill bit to drill the holes for the pocket screws, and the drill bit has a locking collar with an Allen wrench to adjust the depth. So the clamp mount has keyed nuts that slide onto the guide bar. And has quick-acting clamps. The jig comes with a stop lock, has the same key locking feature, which is useful if you're going to be moving the clamp mount to multiple positions for creating different constructions. But what we'll demonstrate is that you can do everything you need without the stop lock by positioning the jig in one place and moving your workpieces under the clamp mount. Alright, we've got the jig mounted on the rail, but not locked down. What we're going to do is start by scribing a reference line, a square reference line, on our work table. And then moving the jig approximately in place. We're going to build a rectangular cabinet face frame door. Straightforward operation. We line up our long longitudinal piece, the stile, on the reference line, and then we take our rail, our first rail piece, and we line that up square with the stile on the reference line. Now to set the jig, this jig can be adjusted so that the pocket holes can be installed into smaller boards or wider boards. The reference marks etched into the clamp mount help you align the pocket holes so that they're properly spaced on your workpiece. Now this is a piece of 1x2. Nominal 1x2 is 1.5 inches wide. What you want is to have the pocket holes approximately equal distant and centered on the wood. So in this case we've made the adjustment using this knob to the 3/4 inch mark. These marks are 1/8 of an inch apart, and in this case we're set up for a piece of 1x2. Now if we were to use a different width piece of work, different workpiece, we would adjust this wider. In this case I'll adjust it to 1 1/8. That mark corresponds to 1 1/8 inches, and again center it on this wood approximately. I even made a little mark, I don't know if you can see it, that's the center mark, but you don't need that. As long as it's roughly centered. And at this point we have 3/8 of an inch, 3/8 of an inch, and 3/8 of an inch more or less. So this is centered on this piece of wood. And if we have a wider piece of stock, we could expand this and adjust to suit. Clamp our jig to the rail. So we can loosen the set screw in that reference line in place, tighten the set screw. Our wood is square to that reference line. The two pocket holes are roughly centered on the wood. We have to adjust this for the strength of the clamp and lock the pieces of wood in place. Now we're ready to drill our first pocket holes. So we've got the jig basically set up. We're going to loosen the clamp so we can put our drill bit in place. We want to back this up just a little bit. I'll show you why. Because when we have the clamp, move it out of the way so that we can, and the bit should just enter the intersecting piece of wood. So that's about right. That's about halfway into the, just for the tip of the drill bit, halfway into the piece of wood. I'm going to lock the stop collar. So now we've got the stop collar aligned. We're going to put our wood back in place. Now that we've got our workpieces aligned, the pocket holes centered on the workpiece, and the jig clamped in place, the clamp mount in place, we're ready, and the drill bit adjusted to the right depth, we're ready to drill our pocket holes. Bring the drill up to speed. We've mounted our square drive drill bit into a drill driver. General provides square drive self-tapping screws into the pocket hole, the pre-cut pocket hole. All of the pocket hole drilling and driving the screws to attach the workpieces is done in one operation without moving the jig. Alright, so we've got this piece installed. We're going to install the rail on the other end of this board. If we were going to do an intermediate rail, we would just move it to our position and then line up the board, but we're not going to have an intermediate rail here, so we're going to move it all the way down towards the end. Now this one, again, we want a reference on the left side of this face, so we'll be putting, this is just a matter of feeling it, getting this piece on our reference line. Got a nice tight joint here. Once again, we're going to have this approximately centered. Since the jig is already set up to that reference line, lock it in place. And we're ready to shoot our next pocket holes. Alright, with both screws attached, we can now release the jig. And now you have your completed. Spin the frame around, do the other ends. And we're ready to drill. Alright, so we've locked it in place, we've spun the frame around. I'm going to drill this end. Okay, we're done inserting the screws. Both pocket holes have been drilled. Nice tight square joint. Nice and square. Zip, zip, zip. Now we're going to do the final corner. Line out, joint up our last piece with the reference line. Lock it in place. Ready to drill our final holes. There we have our completed frame. Nice and square. Now with a frame like this, there would ordinarily be an insert in a routed groove. We didn't route the groove in this case. We can disassemble the frame easily by taking the screws out, route the grooves, insert our panel, and we're done. It's as easy as that.